Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
Greetings, programs. I'm Jake, and we are joined by the Tabletop Titans guys, Brian and Adrian. So they're going to be hanging out with us tonight, talking about Trench Crusade and all kinds of good stuff.
All sorts of things. Cool. Hi, guys.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having us on.
Cool. No, very cool. Very cool to have you. Thank you for joining us. We met in person just a mere month ago.
I know, right? It seems like a lifetime.
No, a mere month ago at Adepticon. We've been chatting previously before that about mainly about Trench Crusade stuff because I can't get enough. Yeah, we thought we'd have you on and talk about Tabletop Titans, your YouTube channel, the battle reports, Titans Terrain, Trench Titans, and Wildwood.
We have a lot of projects.
It's just a couple. It's a couple of things.
It's fine.
Going on. So I think that's going to be good. I'm going to say hi to folks in the chat. We've got Scott is here. Says hey. Mono Curone. 121. I wanted to be painted during this, but my cuddle beast of a dog has other ideas.
Oh,
I think Jake's one of Jake's puppies might.
Bailey will probably make an appearance at some point.
I hope so.
I don't know what I'm doing.
There we go. Melody Wallace. This is time for deep lore, so we're going to learn a little bit more about the background. Shiny Things is here. Hello. Luis is here as well. Hi everyone. Mark Maxey has joined us, and Patrick Keith is here in Sculpt Dude, and Dave Hummel has joined us as well. So I'm sure there are a few other folks. Feel free to say hi in the chat as we go through. Cool. Well, it's been a pretty crazy week. I've been doing lots of things. What about you, Jake? What have you been up to?
Well, I shouldn't say that. I've been up to a lot, not like fun stuff. I've mostly been like digging out of paperwork, and like I'm sure like everybody like was just like we just had to get our taxes done. So like last week was me running around getting all that stuff together, and so a lot less hobbying than I wanted. I did a little bit of sketching. I got a new goalie mask, and I'm talking with an artist now who's going to airbrush it. We've had all kinds of ideas. We were gonna have we had the idea to have John Blanche do it, and then someone was like, I don't know if John is going to paint your air mask. I was like, it'd be pretty cool if he did, though. I'd probably the only goalie mask that he would have painted. And then we were thinking about Caleb was going to do it. Caleb from from CK Studios, because he's done like gas tanks and stuff. But we were talking about the design, and he's like, I don't think I can pull that off. And then I had the idea to have Jim Waffle do it, because I was like, he's a hockey fan, like he's an artist, maybe he could do it. And we were chatting. He was like, I don't think I have any way to paint a mask. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. But it'll be cool. It's gonna get done probably the next 5-6 weeks, and once it's done, I'll show it off on the show. But there's a bunch of like Warhammer stuff like on it. It's gonna be pretty rad. I'm pretty excited. So
That's so sick.
it should be good. But yeah, other than that, like I've played hockey a couple times, and just a lot of running around. I've done almost zero hobbying, but yeah, I mean, so when I say hobby, I mean zero like miniature wargaming painting hobbying. I've done a ton of other hobbying, just not that. So
excellent. How about you, Brian? What hobbying you been up to this week?
Yeah, great question. I always have a lot of plans to get a lot of hobbying stuff done. And okay, I'll preface this with Adrian knows this very well. I hate building models, and so for me, that's like a massive slog for me to get through my backlog of models. So I've been trying to work on my Trench Crusade stuff, because of course we're going to be doing stuff with the arena for Army Painter, and I need to get my Prussians done. And so like I built the Sniper Priests.
Look at you!
I built both of them, and then I pulled out the box of the first box I made of plastic miniatures, and I was like, man, there's a lot of stuff in this box. I don't know if I'm ready for all that.
That's a lot to get through.
So I like looked at the sprue for like 20 minutes, decided that I wasn't ready to do it, and then put it away.
I think that counts. I think that 20 minutes.
It was the thought, right? It was the thought that counts. And then my cousin, he brought over a Lucius and was like, "Oh, by the way, you're gonna paint this for me." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fair. I guess I will." So now I have that on my hobby desk. So not a lot of building, even though I tried to build. I did. I thought about it a lot, and then just didn't do it. So. Not much.
What can you do? Oh my goodness.
Well, thinking about it as doing the hobby too. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially, when you were talking about leading up to Adepticon and like Golden Demon, and like the amount of time that you put into painting is huge. But there's also just the like sitting and thinking and like dry fitting pieces and thinking about it and then not doing anything, and it's like a huge part of it as well, right?
Dude, everybody loves the this part of the hobby where you're like, oh, this guy is gonna be so cool. Like that's like, I think everybody enjoys that part of the hobby. Even this part, we were like, oh, these guys are gonna look so cool when I build them, and then I have to paint them, and then
that was me.
Yeah, I get it. That's valid. That's fine.
Visualizing is an important part.
Yeah, exactly.
I was it's conceptualizing.
Yeah, doing the hard work, honestly. Too funny.
Awesome. How about you, Adrian?
I've been hard at work on Skaven. We showed off the new Spearhead box with the new Eshin, which I was super excited because amongst all the things I didn't have on my bingo card this year, it was new Eshin, which I absolutely love, and we've had these old sculpts from old fantasy days. So I've been painting those up over the weekend, which was a ton of fun. They were not fun to put together. They were a nightmare, but they are fun to paint. I'll say that.
The new ones, they're super spindly.
They're spindly, and they're like, and I know that it's like there's some parametric software that is like optimizing the sprue to just sit perfectly and be like technically efficient, but it's not really meant for a human, where like a lot of the joints just kind of just sit. They look great, they're visible now, but like the putting them together part is like really hard for an actual human to do now.
Is it like one of those little wire puzzles?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's like here's part of the cloak, half the face, and just like I literally had to put some aside and then come back to them later on once I was like mentally prepared.
Yeah.
Some of their, like when you look at GW sprues versus anybody else's, you're like, their sprue layout is so good. It's one of the biggest things that hurts companies like Conquest and other companies, because you're like, oh, there's a sprue like this, and you're like, yeah, there's 9 pieces on it.
Yeah,
the GW one, and there's like 47 pieces on the same sprue. But yeah, because of that, it's that engineering program that's like, oh, if I cut it like this, it'll fit nice and flat. And you're like, yeah, but is it intuitive to put together? Because like it's not a lot.
Not at all.
Oh my god, the best example I can think of that I've worked on recently, or recent enough, the Cathay line. What the golem,
the Sentinel or something?
Yeah, the Sentinel, whatever he's called, like the big golem Sentinel guy.
Yeah.
He is probably like almost 200 pieces, and each piece, I don't know if you guys have worked on that model at all, and if you have, you can commiserate with me, because it is probably one of the top 5 worst models I've ever put together in my life, and I will never do another one.
Okay.
It's absolutely miserable.
So many tiny pieces.
So many tiny pieces. And it's like, oh, if you don't get this piece right, the next piece will not fit, which means nothing further down the line will ever go together. And I'm just like, well,
I
It's gonna look how it looks now.
I miss the days of like buying a box of Space Marines and being like, okay, that's a pile of left arms, and that's a pile of right arms, and that's a pile of legs, and that's a pile of heads, and then you can mix and match. And now it's like, oh, you need arm 16B to go on torso 5A, and you're like, I don't know which piece that is. Like, cut off all the arms. Like,
I think of poor Mel, my wife, who was also on the channel. She had her first experience with like the new paradigm. It was a few years ago at this point, but it was the new Space Marine Scouts. And she did what she always does and cuts out all the bits separately and then goes to like look at the instructions, and there's just a pile of like legs and arms and limbs that's impossible to do now that they're being detached, because you can't do that anymore. And it was like such a moment, right?
what I've taken to doing is I have a bunch of little boxes like this. I have a bunch of little boxes like this that are all, subdivided.
Yep.
And then what I do is I cut off all the pieces for each guy into the little ice cube trays, and then I built, because I understand where she's coming from. I don't want to be like, I'm going to cut off this piece and cut off this piece and cut off this piece. I'll build that guy. That seems crazy to me. So I'm like, okay, this guy is these 3 pieces. This guy is these 3 pieces. This guy, and then I go back and then I build them all in like in sequence. That's been kind of the best kind of happy medium I found, that like I can still cut off all the pieces and then I don't have to keep track of them with the instructions. I can be like, nope, I already did that. This is all this guy. This is all this guy. This is all this guy. But yeah, I miss the days of being like, I'm just going to pick an arm and put it on this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually a really good idea, Jake. I had not thought of that one. At the moment, I just have piles of sprues.
It's that little bit of type A I have. My wife is super type A, and I picked it up.
Yeah.
But
What are you working on, Dave?
I have been working on a whole bunch of things. I showed I held up something before. I'll show a picture later in the show of some of the Trench Crusade stuff I'm working on.
Sweet.
So yeah, I've got my Court Envy warband that I'm working on.
Okay.
So sick.
So lots of fun there. Friend who's probably in the chat, Brendan Bell, has helped me work out some cool ways to show that envy, that covetous sort of nature.
That's cool.
It'll be cool. We'll have a look at that. Yeah, been doing a lot of different things, a lot of building this week. So sorry, Brian, but yeah, a lot of somebody else does it, right?
Yeah. You're like, can we just call it the paint and play show today? Not the
yeah, we don't need the first part. I'll do the second
2/3. We divide the work. I like to build and I like to play. Painting is third for me. Dave loves to paint. I think build is probably second for Dave and play is third.
Yeah, probably. So we work well together.
Yeah, exactly. That's too funny.
Excellent. So just going to jump back to the chat for a second. Elijah has joined us. Cat Swift is here. Hi, Cat. Josh Potter is here as well. He said this week's hobby was running a paint and take, then prepping a bunch of 15mm historicals for a big club game. Nice.
Oh, that's sick.
Nightstorm Gaming has joined us. Dave Hummel says, if I painted as much as I think about painting my army, it would be done. Mel was excited by my hobby basement. Cool. And she did mention the Terracotta Sentinel. I'm playing in an old world escalation league at the moment with my every other Wednesday gaming group. And the next thing I was going to do to expand the army was put together a Sentinel. However, every single person who has put together a Sentinel says, "Oh my God, this is the worst model ever."
It's so weird. Like looking at the model, I was like in my head, I was like, "Oh, it's probably like 27 pieces." It's like
it was because it should be.
It doesn't look like it's posable. It's basically yeah. I don't understand that.
Is it just like a bunch of like armor plates? Like
so everything, the Sentinel itself is supposed to be made out of like stone or whatever, and then there's like filigree layered on top. But like every time there's like the filigree underneath of the stone, so you have to build the filigree separate. Then the stone pieces are all separate as well. But like the stone pieces underneath are like 7 pieces to create the inlay for the chest. Then the filigree goes on top of that, so you don't even see the stone anymore. And it's like, why am I doing?
You have to craft it,
and like it's all over the armor is out, all that filigree and all the stonework. It's like the wrists are like 6 pieces, the legs are like 14 pieces. Like what? It's the ankle shouldn't be 6 pieces, but it is. You know,
right.
Like I wonder how much of that is that new engineering program versus like them trying to get a specific aesthetic. Because like when the new 40K box or the new Heresy box came out, Saturnine, the Saturnine Terminators in my brain. I was like, oh, it's probably like, I don't know, like 18 pieces. My buddy's like, dude, each one of them is like 47 pieces. And I was like,
it's wild.
What?
It's
I was like, for
insane.
a single guy?
The Dreadnought was close to 200. I think I counted. I went through the instruction book and I counted. It was like 170 some odd pieces.
That's because the infantry have a Dreadnought number of pieces in them, you know?
It's crazy.
At least the Dreadnought's fully posable though. Like you can change his arms, you can change his legs, you can change the way he's tilted. It sounds to me like the Sentinel, they were like, let's make it as complicated as a posable piece, but not have it be posable. I was like, why would you do that?
And you know what's worse? I still built it wrong somehow. Like the blade, his blades, it's like a double-sided glaive or whatever. Yeah. And like the direction, I've like flipped them on the other side so they're not facing the right direction. So now mine just looks dumb. And I'm like, doesn't know how to hold his blades. Like, sick, thanks.
He's gonna sleep a long time. It's so funny.
I was watching all in the chat. It is kind of amazing to me how many people like the sequential build. Like a lot of people are like, I take all the pieces off one by one like I'm doing a Lego set. Right. And I was like, I can understand how people like that process. For me, it's like it's a business thing. It's from when I used to work in corporate. It's like you never want to touch the same thing more than once, unless you have to. You know, it's like this comes off the truck, it goes here. I don't touch it again. So it's and no matter what it is, you always want to touch something once. So whenever I do it, I'm always like, I want to take all the pieces off because then I do all my bold lines all together. Right. And then I do that as I'm building them. So I can't imagine being like, I'm going to cut off all the pieces and then I'm going to mold line them and then I'm going to build all those pieces and then I'm going to start again. I'm like, I can't do that. Like that would be nuts.
That's so funny. Because your method to me sounds not stressful, but like I get the little dopamine hit when I finish building a model. And I'm like, cool, I did it. And that'll like fortify me for the next one. Whereas like, doing it like that in this sort of assembly line, it's going to be more efficient, but like I get no satisfaction until the end, and like I can't do it.
Yeah, I don't get any satisfaction until the models are complete. Like, it's all delayed. Like I got to have my broccoli and everything else first, and then like.
So well behaved.
I do the same thing. I don't put them inside like the little receptacles, which to me, I don't know why I never thought about that. It just makes so much sense. But I would cut out all the models like that I'm going to build. So if it's like a 10-man squad or whatever, I cut them all out and I put them in little piles. But then I'm forced to finish building all 10 of those models before I get up. And so like that's probably why I hate it so much is because I just force myself to do that. But
because I take stuff back and forth to work, I used to do the same thing. I would cut out the whole squad in piles. And then I was like, oh, I have to go to work. I want to keep working on these guys. And I was like, I've got to have something around here somewhere. And I just went and bought one of these little like, I think you can get these at like Home Depot.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So it's all subdivided up. So I just grabbed this and I was like, oh, cool. And I put all the guys in all the little spots and I take them to work and I work on them. And once they're built, they go back in the same spot until they get home and I take them out. And then I just reload it. Like it's fun. Like it's an easy way to keep it in piles, but portable.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Exactly. Yeah, we got Lavender Eyes in chat saying they use baggies, ice cube tray. Yep. Makes sense.
Cool. Well, I'm just going to say hi as well to, I think we've got everybody up to there. Lindris. Hi to Jeepsy Painter. Welcome. Vati. Brennan Bell is here. He's in all that hair and no beards.
So disappointing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
This is about as much as you get from me. That's it.
This is I call this I haven't shaved in 4 days, and then I'll shave again. Like
I mean, you're definitely winning that battle right now. So there you
go. Chris Kemig has joined us as well.
What's up, Chris?
Derelict, excellent. I think we're caught up. Fantastic. Hello, everybody. Okay, we should jump into chatting about other things.
For sure.
All the things. So let's do that. Now you guys get to see me go through the step-by-step process where I choose. There we go. The presentation, the slideshow. So first thing we need to do, of course, is thank our sponsor, the Army Painter. Jake and I are members of the factory team, Army Painter factory team. So we'll get to do lots of fun, cool stuff with the factory team in the coming years. We had a great time at Adepticon. Hanging out and doing things, and it's also been a very cool spending time both at shows and online with other members of the factory team as well. We cook up lots of fantastic plans and things that are going to happen. So, but of course, we're going to call out the mini painting dictionary. If you head to the Army Painter website, link below. You can check out Dippett's dictionary there. what he's got to say. The most recent post is about edge highlighting. So if you want to know more about edge highlighting, go and check that out.
Oh, you know.
Excellent. Next up, cool. I just want to mention this as well. On the weekend, sorry, Adrian and Brian, to throw this in here, but
Yeah.
a couple of about a month ago, our friend Jeff Smith passed away. Jeff was a huge Space Wolf fan. He's also an incredibly generous and supportive friend. We spoke with Patrick Keith, who was in the chat as the sculpt dude at Adepticon, and Patrick sculpted this head and the arm holding the brush. Match Jeff's just logo that he had for his commission studio, Old Wolf Studio. Pardon me, Old Wolf Studio, and I am using it to do this conversion here of Jeff riding this wolf. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be painting this up, and then we're going to raffle it off with all the proceeds going to Jeff's family for final expenses, that kind of thing. We had his celebration of life on the weekend, which was absolutely awesome. There were 60 or 70 folks there, and a lot of us used to work with him at Games Workshop or at Battlefront or at other locations, but it was a wonderful day and a wonderful celebration of Jeff and his family. So I want to call that out. That's one of the things I've been working on this week. So yeah. But
Jeff would be thrilled about the size of that tactical rock. He does love a good tactical rock.
Absolutely.
Culture.
Cool. So what we did on the weekend as well. Sorry, somebody just asked in the chat. You can see that the printout here. So we had physical prints that we were basically selling for the family for $5 a piece. I think we're going to set something up where you can buy the STL for it, for the head and the brush for $5. I'll work out how we're going to do that, and I'll let everybody know. Shiny Things has said, that's awesome. Can you share the raffle link with the Titans to share with their community? If you guys are willing.
Sure. Yeah. Send it our way.
So yeah, once we've got that sorted, we'll let you know.
Absolutely, it'd be great.
But yeah, quick flicker there. But yeah, there we go.
Oh man!
Oh my! Look at you, Adrian.
I was just a boy.
Oh my God.
So, as usual, I asked Adrian to send through a whole bunch of photos that sort of took us through a timeline, a chronological journey through for Tabletop Titans. For folks who don't know, Tabletop Titans is a YouTube channel and so much more. But primarily a YouTube channel doing lots of battle reports. Is it primarily 40K?
Yeah, mostly 40K.
Yeah, but occasionally a couple of other things.
One of the comments, somebody goes, remember when Adrian was in Weezer?
Melody in the chat, that's Mel, right? That's your wife?
No, that's different Melody, but she's one of ours. That's one of our amazing mods.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, we've known Melody for since the channel started.
Since the inception of the channel.
Melody wins. That's the comment of the night.
Yeah.
Too good.
And I also see that Aaron is joined us in the chat. Hi, Aaron. But yeah, Adrian, take it away.
Yeah, for sure. So this was, I chose this picture very deliberately because this was the very first video that I did with Brian before the channel was really a thing. This is Brian Pullen, my business partner on the side. Bridger and I are the ones that really founded and created the channel. And so, Brian had started doing these kind of experiments. He would bring in someone, try to shoot some content. He would then also, they did a couple battle reports, just editing things up and et cetera, and was like, this is cool, but it's like 80 hours of editing by myself without like a team and a group. And like, I want to do this more with friends. So This was, gosh, 7th edition probably. And this was the new Assassins had just come out. So we did a video covering each of the Assassins. And this is literally just in Brian's kitchen at the time. And it was like a huge, huge big shoot and setting up all the very washed out lighting here on this very, very black cloth in the background. And so we did that. And we're like, cool, that was fun. Just kind of as an experiment and see if we'd like working together or whatever. Didn't think much of it. And then end of the summer, I get a call from Brian. He says, hey, you should come over. I want to show you something. So all right, cool. Go over to his place. And turns out he and Bridger have completely co-opted his garage and just like built up an entire like fake wall of like brick and just tables everywhere, model stuff everywhere. And there's like the beginnings of like cameras plugged in. They're like, yeah, you want to like run a channel? I'm like, yeah, let's go. We're in. So here, yeah, we can see this is the first real studio. And again, that's the whole space, right? That is the garage right there. Right behind us is where the garage door would actually open. So it was not able to be open for those couple of years that we were there. And we just kind of went, both feet in. So the idea was we come from kind of media background. Like I have worked as an animator, as a game designer, doing a lot of augmented reality stuff, teaching things like that. So it's like very much all independent contracty kind of media work. And Bridger was a computer engineer, and then Brian design work, also a bit on the CS side, but also media. And so we had the different parts of the piece that we needed to maybe do this thing, and we were like interested in making content. But one of the things that, like I mentioned, Brian found very quickly is editing sucks. Editing is the worst. It takes so much time and effort, and it's like, man, YouTube is a rough game. We all know this. It is definitely difficult. So he's like, if we want to do this, we have to do it in a way that is sustainable. Even if while we're working on other jobs and it doesn't work out, we need to make sure we're having fun and continue to do it. So that was what led us to look into doing live shows and things like that, which nobody was really doing very much of it at the time in the Warhammer space. And it was kind of just because we wanted to make it something that was feasible. And a lot of the technology didn't really exist. A lot of this was just, digital cameras that we would hook up through multiple pass-throughs to small monitors and connect to the, a lot of the black magic stuff was just getting started. A lot of the capture cards weren't really meant for this. They were meant for like, esports and digital games. And so it was a lot of like literally building the technology as we went.
Right.
So that's kind of the start of the story, I guess I could say. But I don't want to just keep talking at everyone.
I was going to say the reason that we do a live stream is 100% because editing sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Editing sucks.
Editing sucks, but also like I think you get. I always feel like you get a much better product when it's live and genuine. Like I think like the screw ups and the mistakes I think it's part of the value, right? Like a lot of people don't like it. I watch, there's a lot of friends of ours who do very like well done, like pre-edited, pre-recorded, processed stuff. And it looks phenomenal. It really does. But we've had a lot of them on as guests and they're super entertaining live. And I'm like, why would you sign up for all this extra stuff?
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah, it's just like you can engage with the audience. Also, being a physical medium, like again, we're not playing video games here. We have to implement all the rules between each other. The players are working together. Chat becomes part of that. Mistakes that happen, especially when you're covering all these new systems and new rules, that if you're doing a pre-recorded, like, I'm sorry, that's baked in. That is forever.
Yeah, it's there forever. And when you're doing live, you have, again, like Adrian said, you can interact with the audience and you can catch things when they come up, if they come up, but also you just get to enjoy the time with the people that are watching you. Whereas when you're doing pre-recorded stuff, you don't actually get to interact with the community all that much outside of like Discord or whatever. But when you're doing it live, you actually get interaction at the moment, in the moment, which is really, really cool.
It's a very different skill too. Like, live, the thing, like for me, a good rule of thumb is always like be yourself, maybe be 110% yourself. But that's kind of the rule. And with live, like you're just going. When you're doing a pre-recorded, it's like you try to capture that, but there's so much start and stop and like, okay, now we roll this dice and pause and get close up like this. The results can be great, but it is very taxing and it's a lot of work, right? A Trench Crusade shoot, a game that might take us an hour to play, was a 10-hour shoot for that.
Yeah.
And it's like that's a lot. So in the beginning, it was particularly important that we would do something that was going to be fun for us and get as close as we could to just basically rolling in on a Thursday night and playing Warhammer the exact same way we would normally. And that was the only way it was gonna work. And so and that became very important because that spring, of course, this was the spring of 2020, and so COVID hit, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is going to sink us. Like, we are not going to be able to interact with people and this and that. And we're like, this is going to be what the world is ending, the thing we didn't plan for. Turns out that it was, I think, really helpful for people because we basically became their kind of stand-in for being able to play their own games. And so that was kind of very much the philosophy right away was like, let's make this be just a group of friends hanging out and playing games together, make chat part of that. They can sort of live through us, make decisions, and kind of join in on everything. And that was so critical. And I think that's where a lot of people rallied around us and like the live scene was because we could at least be our little pod locally and play and celebrate, and people could join in on that in a time in which nobody could go out and play these games. Obviously, very, very difficult time for everyone. So we were able to sort of provide that community. So this I included because this was also the summer right before the new edition. 9th, I guess it was 8th edition, maybe we did the other video. So going into 9th edition, we were like, we want to make this a thing and hit it hard. We've been doing the streams for, maybe like about a year or so now. And okay, new edition's coming out. How do we make a splash? And again, at the time, there was not much out here. All these tactics videos that you see, those didn't exist. There was no Art of War. Auspex started basically around the same time as us. Play On started around the same time as us. So there were just, these things didn't exist. So what we did going into the launch was we did a video every day for the first 30 days of the launch. And we would try to compile as much information as we could about each faction. And the second something would come out, go in, make the changes, get what we guessed wrong or was incorrect, change that, update that, put it out. And we just hit it super hard. So the channel blew up. It was like 60,000 subscribers over the course of that summer. And that basically took us to be able to like go full time with this, launch us into the channel that it is today. And it was just kind of being there and finding like the gap and making something that we thought that we wanted to see, but didn't exist at the time.
Yeah. Aaron Brower said the apocalypse was surprisingly good for being online.
Right, exactly.
The parasocial relationship that got us through COVID. So
it was essential. It was essential, honestly. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that and how those things have changed the farther we move away from COVID. And what does that mean for content and wargaming and stuff like that? Because that's definitely a thing as well, right? Yeah. We did that. Again, it kind of blew up overnight. And then by the fall, we were like, well, we want to do a membership to sort of see, could we make this a job? Could we do this full time? Can we grow this into something more? We're literally just in Brian's garage still at this point. And it's so funny. I look back, I remember I was thinking, should we move to a bigger space? And I was like, we could. Like, this is fine, but we could. My God, it was crazy. I was crazy for even considering it. So this was the new space where we're currently at, actually. And so this is it's an office building. And we launched memberships and people came out and we're really excited for it. And we got all these members, which, memberships and the community have been so essential to doing what we do. Because what it meant was we weren't reliant on ads, on sponsors, or any of that outside stuff. We just had a group of people who wanted to be part of what we're doing and believed in us and wanted to play games and hang out. And so it's been very, very consistent with our support from that. And so it let us do these crazy big projects, build up the studio. We've got Bridger here. He's going to hate that I shared this photo, but it's too funny. And so, yeah, this is building up that new studio for that.
I love that you were like, listen, it has to have a brick wall. That's our
brand. Exactly. I mean, it's easy. We just went back to
Brian's house,
Home Depot, and we got these perfect brick walls from them and posted and put them up there. So that was a big project.
I will admit that several times I have thought, should I put some wood paneling back here, like fake bricks? But then I was like, nah, I'll just go with the 100-year-old lime whitewash.
I think it's got a feel for it.
It's got like that nice rustic look,
Yeah.
Sure, let's go with rustic.
Look, I was trying to be nice,
It's like rustic to rhyme with homicide, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's giving that big serial killer vibe. I'm into it.
Yeah. Just don't ever invite me over.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, moving to the new space, we got a bunch of new cameras, 4K cameras, equipment, all that stuff. Because one of the things we were trying to do as well, our theory was also, we were far from the first people to do Warhammer content, that is for sure. But a lot of them were like filmed with phones. It was kind of hand cammy stuff, and we wanted to really, invest in nice quality sound and audio and images and all that stuff. And so that let us do that and try to just do it right and have good high quality setup. So here we are, one of the very first games. And so you can see obviously a much nicer setup, but taking those similar things forward into the future is like talking about how to play armies, talking about how do you be a good sports person and a great opponent to play and celebrate your opponent's successes as much as your failures. And like, that's just fun. It's like the drama of it, and you have those relationships that are so important. Like here, playing against Brian Pullen, he was always sort of the bully and I was like the heel, was like the sort of like relationship that we'd have in our games. And I think you've taken on the heel.
I have picked up the heel mantle, and Bridger has become my bully. But it's got to exist somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason I say that is because I think one of the biggest things that we did, which everyone now copies, is this camera angle right here. We did this crazy thing where instead of being focused on the table and the models for like 90% of the time, we took the camera and we just tilted it up and be like, here's the humans, here are the players playing this game, and recognizing that is just as important as the games and the model. And so again, to sort of be that model of like, here's some friends hanging out and we're going to interact with you and we're going to interact with each other. And that was so important. So that now this is every, live Warhammer setup uses this layout, which is a great compliment, but it's pretty funny where we came from. Because at the time it was like crazy.
It is one of those things where looking at you guys that you're playing it from the same side of the table to facilitate this view.
Yep.
And I know to look at things like Tabletop Tactics on play on. They've got that across. They're still across the table, but you've got that sort of 3/4 view across the table. Yeah, it is always interesting. I guess because you're live streaming, you're not worrying about that editing. They're doing the edit switch back.
That's exactly what it is. So you look at the play on setup in particular. They have they flip the table from this perspective and on either side, because that lets you do the traditional 2-camera setup where you're cutting from one player to the other one, and that works perfectly for pre-recorded. So you kind of see like our studio is built first and foremost for live, and then we happen to also do pre-recordings as well. Play On and Tactic, well, they don't do live streams yet, but Play On for sure does mostly the pre-recorded, and then they have their live shows, but they're not going to reconfigure their studio for it. And so you're absolutely right, Dave. This is the kind of the perfect thing for live. And the more cameras you have, you can kind of just avoid people's backs as they're walking around the table constantly.
I guess with the live stream and multiple camera angles, do you have somebody like off screen doing the switching?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we have, you want to?
Yeah, we have a Lindsay. No, we have a producer that sits behind the camera that will go through and change the camera angles as we are moving around the table or as we're just like interacting with the game. Obviously, we're not paying attention to the cameras, We're just playing the game and trying to make it as entertaining as we can be. So the producer has a much more challenging job because they have to pay attention to the game and interact with all the cameras and make sure that they're getting the best angles. Like if we're doing something, that'd be better for the top down because we're explaining something and pointing at stuff. Like they have to be kind of on that as well. And they're kind of the main interface between us and chat as well. So like obviously when we're playing a game, we don't have access. We're not reading chat. That's what the producer is doing while we play.
They are very much like the director who's making those calls. What camera angles are we cutting to? When is the right time to show the dice roll? Then the face for the reaction, and then zoom on the table to move the models. And they have to do that all live, and it's very much more in the tradition of like sports shows and things like that, where you have to like get ready for any call at any moment. And we talk about like what do those angles look like? We've practiced the intro, things like that. And so they have this whole setup with the whole stream deck, and they're pushing the buttons and checking chat, and that's a whole part of it,
Scott says, in real life, if somebody comes to my side of the table to do more than check line of sight, I assume it's to start a fist fight.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you got to be like, get on your side of the table, weirdo. Like,
yeah, what are you doing?
We already picked deployment zones. Get out of here. This is my side.
I mentioned my every other Wednesday gaming group that I play with. So we play in my friend's basement, and he has a row of tables. Sometimes have 5 games going on, but if you're in one corner, there's like it's half a mile to walk all around.
Yeah.
So you just say, can my guys see your guys from your end? Can you just move those for me? It's when you have to get your opponent to move your models for you and tell you what your line of sight is, it becomes much less competitive, right?
Yeah. That's amazing.
Narrative stuff and playing with friends is the whole reason why we do this hobby. Like my days of being around the table with a bunch of sweaty tryhards I just don't miss that at all.
Behind you.
I don't miss that. But I mean, but it's fun. Yeah. And something like this, obviously, like I think part of the reason you guys are so successful is there's obviously a camaraderie and like you guys have like a good relationship. Like if it was like if you had a different person on every week and you were like, yeah, I don't like this guy, like and it was just clearly you did not like the person you were playing against.
Yeah, it comes off.
Like you would not have had the success you've had.
I think it's essential. You have to have that connection with those people and that humor and like I said, like being willing to celebrate your opponent as much as yourself and kind of have that friendship where we can like have the person who's getting picked on, but it's all kind of part of the joke and everyone's fine with that.
Yeah.
And also not get salty, right? Like we said, it's shocking the amount of times I'll see someone in like a recorded video and they're getting like actually upset at it. I'm like, well, what are you doing? This is crazy. Like, you lean into the disasters happening, but like in a fun way and like a meme way. And that's cool. And everyone can laugh and entertain. Chat is like the biggest antagonist and protagonist at the same time. And they take on a life of their own. And that's just so much fun, right? Yeah. They're everyone throwing the fruit over at the performer while we're doing it.
Mel says being fun to beat up is good TV.
Exactly, it's so true. But you got to be able to take it, right? You have to take your licks and be okay, letting go a little bit of that ego all around.
Oh yeah, you can't have an ego. There's no way you can't have an ego. Exactly. And like at the end of the day, like we've all said, it's just a game, right? And we're doing this with our friends for the reason to have fun with our friends. So like, there's always another game, So if this one you lose, whatever, just play the next one. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But we try to it's an interesting thing because, obviously we're playing a real game of Warhammer here. It's, it's live. We got to roll with the punches, see whatever happens. There's so many things that go into the process to make sure this is going to be a compelling and entertaining game. So it's like, okay, first, what's the army want to show? Is there a new release? Is there something that's exciting? We have a new collection. Like, do that. Who are they going to fight against? Kind of figure out the scheduling with that and the players there. Okay, looking at this, we'll build the list to sort of make sure that there's no blowout one way or another. Then we go to the mission. We say, what's going to be an interesting mission? What's going to have interesting movement across the camera and where we're going to fight in different places? Take that further and further all the way through the deployment. So by the time we start playing, we can be as close as possible to, again, just playing a game. But there's been all this thought and consideration to make sure that it is fun, it is entertaining, because the goal is not to win. Like, we will try to win when we get there, but that takes a lot of prep and planning to get to that point. People are like, why don't you do 20, 30 Death Company versus Imperial Knights? And we're like, because why would you watch that? You don't read books about the battle that was over in 20 minutes or the guy who never got off the couch.
There's such a weird disconnect. So again, my adult job is like I run a gaming store, right? So that's like my day job. So there is such a weird disconnect. And I'm not trying to be like, an old man on the front lawn yelling at kids to get off my lawn, but like there is such a weird disconnect that has gotten much more apparent, I would say, over the last 10, 15 years. I don't think it's the internet's fault, but I think that since more games get streamed and because you can now access more, like you have more data available. Like I want to play Tau. Oh, there's so much more data on like how to build a Tau list and what things are good and what units are bad. And this guy wrote an article about how he doesn't like, battle line or whatever. So people are able to farm all that data. And then they're like, they'll come into the store and they're like, I want to make this list. And I'll say to the kid, I'm like, I don't think that's a very good list. And he goes, well, it's top of the meta piles right now. Or like this list, one was like 5 of the top 10 Tau lists at Worlds had this list. Right. And I say, there's a huge disconnect there though. And the kids are going, what do you mean? I go, you are not that player. Like I have a list that is not considered very meta.
Right.
I am undefeated with it. Like it is not because I'm playing a meta list. It's because I've played long enough that Dave and I are from the late 1900s and tactics and strategy and deployment is part of the game. Yep. And now it's like, I'm going to put down all these dudes. I'm going to move all these guys up front. I'm going to have an alpha strike and I'm going to throw, like you said, 90 Death Company models at you on turn 1. And you're like, do you hate this person? Like, do you want to never play again? Cause like, that's how you do that.
Totally.
But yeah, it's such a weird disconnect. Like, so obviously when you guys make these lists, you're like, I'm going to make a fun list of Space Marines because I think Space Marines are fun. And you're like, I'm going to make a fun list of Eldar because I think Space Elves are cool. You're like, cool. Let's have our guys get in a slap fight. Like,
that's the thing. And like, 90% of conflict in games, not even just war games, comes from mismatched expectations of players, right? They're not approaching from the same perspective. Someone wants to do a cool list kind of telling the story, or they have their favorite models. Another person is taking some list that a top player won, or they want to do this super like sweaty thing. And like, those can all be fine as long as you're on the same page, but it's so important to have that conversation about like, what is this game about, right?
Yeah.
And that's
what are we doing here? What are we doing?
That's the best way to do it. I mean, that's why we do it all. We play tournaments. We also go to Grand Narrative every year, and we'll talk more about the Trench Crusade side of things, which is very much
oh my god, yeah, it's been such a departure from 40K that it's been so refreshing to be able to step into a world that's purely narrative as opposed to like trying to make something narrative out of what is more competitive, or like not necessarily competitive, but more competitive minded, I would say, like more we're trying to figure out how to balance the game. That's why we do like, well, I'm going to play this army with this list. Well, let's try to make something work for this other army with this other list. Whereas Trench Crusade is just it's just a departure from it.
Exactly. So yeah, let's talk about Titans terrain. One thing we try to do is we try to take what we're working on and leverage it into the next project and the next project, the next project. Just start baby steps and kind of grow from there. So obviously with the channel doing well, we were thinking about what are other projects we want to do? What are things we would like to make? And we have landed on Titans terrain. This was a few years ago now. If you're not familiar, this is pop-up terrain. So every piece of building you see there literally is like a pop-up book, like when you're a kid. It's a tile, you unfold it, and the whole building comes out. Our paper engineer is fantastic, and he's been on Shark Tank for the pop-up chessboard. If you've seen Paddington and the new Mary Poppins movie, he did the pop-ups in that. There's not many paper engineers in the world.
It's a wild job.
He's a wizard, absolute wizard. When we first started working on this, we were like, we can like do this ourselves. And they were like, no, we're gonna need an adult for this. Even making the prototypes, it was just like, it's so expertly crafted. It's amazing. So we talked to David is his name, and he had this expertise on this. We knew what we wanted from a product standpoint, and I know I'm speaking to the choir here, but wargaming terrain is such a difficult challenge because it is expensive, it is time consuming, it takes up a lot of space, and frankly, most people would rather paint their army than worry about that, but they still want a table that looks nice. So it's that, and it's combined with like, kind of this comes back to the whole tournament speak and top players. We really have a mindset of what is going to help the most amount of people. What do the most amount of people want here? And for most people, they're not going. They don't have obviously like a studio and time to dedicate to all this big terrain. We hardly have space. I mean, we're in California here, so we need something that is easy to use, that is affordable, that can fit back on a table. So, anyways, I'm giving way too much of the sales pitch, but that was the concept, and it went really well. People really liked it, and yeah, it is 95% of people don't play with any FAQs. They play at home on their kitchen table. So let's make something that's for them, and not the 0.5% that we exist in because we're crazy and obsessed with this game, but make it for everyone else. And so that's where we got the pop-up terrain, and we've done 2 Kickstarters since. But yeah. I think the next slide actually shows some of the folding in action, not like video, but you can kind of see the fold. So there you go.
Those are great.
Thank you. We're very proud of them, and we designed them to be as edition agnostic as possible, right? Obviously, we're going to a new edition, so there's more conversations around terrain. But we were like, this is what we know works now. Here's what we think could work in the future. Even the last few years, they haven't been like the GW standard, but they absolutely work for your average game of 40K, which again is not those top tables at tournaments. So,
no. How long did what was the timeline of the process, like from the idea of pop-up terrain, or was it something different? And you met David and was like, oh, we could do pop-up terrain. And then delivery, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good question. We were playing with terrain ideas as far back as the garage, I think. And we were thinking about different ways of doing it. 3D print, you could do more like sturdy cardboard or magnets or this, that, the other thing. We were like looking at different ways of doing it. But I feel like once we actually started going, it was pretty fast. So maybe a year and a half, 2 years. It's been a while now. So I'm like, not remembering the exact timeline. But yeah, so we tend to move fairly quickly once we get something going. Like, yeah, I remember at Brian's old house, we had like paper, just mock-ups of all the boards, and here's all the layouts, and there's all these files of like, okay, here's all the ways you can rotate them. Will they block objectives? Will they this, that, and the other thing? And just kind of prototype that out, get that to David. We have an artist that we work with who's fantastic. And so she does all the like texturing and things like that. And that's from people that we know from our other experience in games, in AR and animation, stuff like that. So it's very much like a collaboration across all these different disciplines.
Right. Excellent. So when you deliver this, it was basically, this is another Tabletop Titans product.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, well, maybe this is a weird way to ask that question. I guess from the early boom, I guess, of like 2020, I think there are we've seen a lot of hobby-based, like wargaming hobby-based YouTube channels that they've done very well in those early days. Some that are now waning, I guess, would be a way to put it. But folks who are still there who have developed other products, they've developed games or miniature lines, or they've worked with people to make paints, like Duncan Rhodes. So there's a lot of different things going on there. Was that something that you thought for the longevity of the project, the project as a whole, like Tabletop Titans as a whole, that we need to do something?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, absolutely. So we approach the channel and the company in a couple of different ways. It's creatively satisfying. These are things we want to do regardless. But also in a similar vein, like we like running it as a business and thinking about what are ways, in this case, of like diversifying that portfolio, so to speak, and not relying on ad revenue or this, that, or the other thing. Especially like there's always the waiting for the other shoe to fall. One day this will all fall apart and it'll lose everything, and those kind of middle of the night thoughts, right? But realistically, knowing that yes, there was like the COVID content boom of 2020, and what do things look like after that? And so like at the time, you could totally monetize with just ads, just this, that, or the other thing. But then if you want to stick around, if you want to make an impact, what are other ways you can get people involved? And like, what is the perspective that you bring that can create something that's new and unique that people need? And so, this was one of many things. We'll talk more about Wildwood soon, but almost immediately when we were starting the channel, Bridger, Brian, and I had a few conversations. We said, one, how long would you do this for free and be okay with that? And kind of talked about that time span. Two, if you could do anything else right now, what would it be? And basically everything everyone said was make a game. So this was getting one step closer to making our own game, making our own system, and like not being someone that necessarily just lives off of what other people have created, but create our own things. So it's a bit of both. I love the business aspect of all this kind of stuff. It stresses some people out, but for me, it's really fun. Like I love the art that we create, but I'm also so curious to hear what is interesting or not interesting to hear from people or, customers in that case. And that's like a really fun puzzle to try to work out for me.
Yep. It's it's been a very interesting thing to watch. I know that during those first months of COVID, I consumed a lot of content. Just seeing where everybody's gone and everybody's taken things, and how things have sort of adjusted along the way.
Yeah, it's so important nowadays, especially if someone's trying to start in content creation. Like if you want to really make it a job, if you want to take it far, you have to have other ways to kind of supplement that, right? You can't and you don't want to rely on those traditional methods. So again, finding the thing that is compelling to you. You said, paint lines. We've got miniature games that are coming out. We've got Ninjon with his card system. And it's like getting creative on that thing that is like uniquely you, and just connecting as people. Like people tried to act like a corporation. They think it'll make them seem more professional, but it's like, no, be a person, be a human. And it's the same thing when we're even doing customer service calls, and like, it's the same thing. There's this instinct to be like, hello, sir and or madam, let me help you out. It's like, no, just be you. We're like, hey, what's up? It's Adrian. Let me help you out with that. And people so much prefer and appreciate that. They're not like, oh, this is not professional, and that's so important.
Yeah, well, a big part of why people are invested in these brands is because of the personalities behind them. Right. And so they kind of expect a personality when they go to contact you for a thing or whatever, right? Like the personalities are a major component for
I think it's so important.
Yep, absolutely. I'd also say, somebody said, well, I'm not very professional. And it's like, you're right. I'm not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always a big disconnect. Like I tell you all the time, there's customer service and there's sales, and people get them confused all the time. And I was like, sales is I need to sell you something.
Right.
That's how I get paid. Customer service is I want to help you with that problem. And that's just kind of how we've always operated. Even as a store, like I had a guy a couple weeks ago, he was upset because like something wasn't in stock and it said it was on the website. And I called him and I was like, hey man, I'm really sorry. Like I'm the owner. Like, is there something else I can get you? I have these instead. And after talking for like 5 minutes, he's like, oh, I thought this was just going to be like an automated service call. I was like, no, man, like what do you need? And he's like, I want this. And I was like, I'll see if I can find it. And then I found it, tracked it down, sent it to him. And he was like, thank you so much. Gave us like a 5-star rating on Google and stuff. And was like, I was blown away that this guy took the time to call me. And I was like, yeah, man, like we're hobbyists too. Like I sell stuff that I want to buy. So when I don't have it, I'm like, man, I'd be mad if I couldn't get that too. Let me see if I can find it for you. But that's just customer service. But yeah, I think the vast majority of the people that we all are friendly with in the industry are all cut from similar cloth. Like whether they're artists and they're selling their art, or whether they're designers, or whether they're gamers or whatever. I think part of the reason we all kind of, get together and want to hang out is because we all kind of see that in each other. Don't get me wrong. For everybody watching at home, there are some absolute turds in our industry.
For sure.
Not a lot, but like we just don't associate with those people. So
Yep.
So what you're saying is that the people we haven't had on the show yet.
yeah, everybody else.
We're gonna be careful.
The worst.
If you get the invite, you've made it. If you don't, then I'm all set.
It's the vibe check.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So I think you've touched on it a couple of times, Brian, talking about like a little, I guess, a breath of I hesitate to say fresh, but
yeah,
fetid air. Trench Crusade came along, and you guys kind
Look
of
at how psyched they are. They're talking like
we're so excited in this.
Was this our intro game?
This is the intro game.
This is our intro game to Trench Crusade. Wow.
Oh, go ahead.
No. Please.
This is so lovingly referred to as Trench Brian because we have too many Brians. This is Little Brian, Trench Brian, Original Brian.
3 Brians.
So many. And so we were like really interested in this weird thing called Trench Crusade. It seemed cool. It seemed fun. I've been a big fan of the Inquisitor 28 community for a long, long time. I just absolutely love it. And I've wanted / tried to do parts of that before and just never quite got things to take off. Like, oh, let's do this video about kit bashing this weird thing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, it's not people's thing, but it's my thing. I'm super excited about it. Trench Crusade comes along and suddenly people are talking about it. They're interested in it. They're excited. And so we're like, let's give this a go. Let's try it just because it's cool. We want to do something. And so actually Lindsay introduced us to Brian, who, is local around here. And he was running all these Trench Crusade campaigns and things like that. And even before, everything really popped off. And so, he came in, we really hit it off. Guy has beautiful models, incredible models, just a great, again, speaking of like people who are important to the community, right? This is someone who was kind of rallying everyone together, running these campaigns, building all of this terrain himself with this beautiful trench system and the bridges and all that stuff. And we're like, let's shoot an episode where we play a game, you kind of teach us, we learn, and it's just like Titans try Trench Crusade. And just having a lot of fun with it. And I remember the episode literally aired last Adepticon, and I remember going and finding the Factory Fortress guys. We're like, oh, big fan. This is our video. It's coming out tomorrow. You should check it out. And they're like, cool. Like, we'll do that. And people really, really, really responded well to it. But I think it takes us back to like why we started this hobby in the first place,
Yeah, and even before we had done the Trench Crusade thing, we did a Realms of Chaos like weekend. So it was 4 of us that got together, and we basically just hobbied a bunch of models, if you want to even call them models, like 4-hour warbands based off of the Chaos God at Adrian's house. Like we were all just at Adrian's house or at the studio just doing random things, and basically based off of these books. And it was kind of in the same sentiment of Trench Crusade. It's like, well, let's just do a cool thing and play a game. Like, we literally didn't have a rule set until we went to play the game, and like, we'll figure it out. Like, it doesn't actually matter, we wanted to just enjoy the experience. And for us, that was kind of what Trench Crusade was, or because it was a miniatures agnostic game, we had full liberty to do whatever it is that we wanted with the models, which is great for like people like Adrian or Brian who want to, like, Brian was big into digital kit bashing, so a lot of his stuff he did on his own, which was incredible. And then Adrian obviously loves the physical kit bashing. I'm not a huge fan of building, as we talked about. So when I heard 3D printed models, I was like, oh, I love this game already. I don't have to do anything. But like it had something for all of us, which was something that Warhammer hasn't had in spades, right? Like as somebody who hates building, you have to build every single model you play with. That's not great. As somebody who loves kit bashing, while it is good that you have a lot of models to pick from, but a lot of the newer models, as we were talking about earlier, feel very static or like just really hard to kind of just put together in general. So it makes it a little bit less accessible. But this was something very unique. And again, it's so different from 40K, and it was a different setting, and it was just something that we could actually learn about while we made content for it.
Yeah.
And like learn about the game itself, but also about how to make the content itself.
It was, yeah, we had done a few sort of, again, talking about pre-recorded episodes, things like that. And this was a good chance to sort of play with the storytelling a lot more of let's build these cinematics and get up close with the models and play with the editing and all that cool, fun stuff that just often gets cut out just when you don't have time or, you know, turns out people don't really actually, we used to do full intros for our 40K games as well. And the numbers told us that it didn't really matter, which was very sad. You know, it's easier, but not having to do that. But like, yeah, people will just kind of skip ahead to see the models and see the gameplay. So it's like, well, let's not bother with that. But here was a game that not only was that what people wanted, it was encouraged. It was narratively driven. It was all building your own models and telling that story. And it wasn't competitive. And again, I love competitive gameplay, but this was something that people came to expecting to. Whereas where we would do narrative things for 40K, people would be like, whatever, it's not. You're not, you know, teaching me anything about how to play better. So I'm just not interested, you know? And I get it. That's maybe not that audience, but this was an audience that cared about painting and building and telling stories. And so we dove right into it. We did the first episode. It went well. We went back to the folks at Factory Fortress, as well as, in this case, Baron of Dice. And we said, hey, do we want to do a whole season of this? Will you sponsor it? We need some capital to basically fund this crazy experiment that we don't know if anyone's going to show up on, right? Again, not counting on any ad dollars because who knows? And they were completely in from day one after seeing this. And so we did our first kind of full season arc with the four of us. And it was so much fun.
It was a ton of fun.
Just,
you guys are getting a lot of like love in the comments about the board.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And making beautiful boards that aren't like some tournament standard layout. Again, it sounds like I'm talking a lot of smack about tournaments. I love tournaments, but this is a completely different avenue, right? Which is fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of, we could explore things that we can't explore in 40K in this game, which, and funny enough, we've actually used a lot of our Trench Crusade boards or like parts of our boards on our 40K stuff because like, let's just do something cool. We can play with this terrain and try to adapt it to 40K. It doesn't have to be competitive like you're saying. Like, but this allowed us to do just the crazy weird stuff, you know? And if you've watched any of our campaigns or if anybody listening has watched any of our campaigns, you know we have just like a bunch of random crazy things. Like our finale on the first campaign, pretty sick. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't watched it, but it was pretty sick.
I think there is a slide with.
Well, this is that.
There's something underneath here which I won't spoil for the finale, but it was big and it was cool and it was fun and we got to have you know some humor with it and be playful about it. You know, in season 2, it's like, oh, here's the Christ stations and just have goofy, silly things and what's a funny pun and we can write a story around it and record a little bit and model something completely insane that you would never do. You can even see actually right now, if you look at Brian's waistband, he's got a little walkie-talkie, which was this demonic walkie-talkie he got from an earlier post game. We had these little post games, which were little puzzles or treasures. And so it was like equal parts like game show / D&D / you know, miniature wargaming or, you know, Old Inquisitor I absolutely adore. And it was like connecting all these things that just didn't have a good excuse is the right word to do before, to spend 10 hours shooting this thing and releasing. And finally here was something where we could do that. And it was so satisfying.
One of the things that we should call out here is that with 40K and the 40K content that you create, you're catering to people who are just finding 40K, in 40K, all the way through to people who've been playing since the late 1900s.
Yeah.
And have now like soon to be 11 editions of rules crammed in their heads, but also all of that lore. So it's difficult, so many people are wanting so many different things. Whereas I think you guys jumped into Trench Crusade at completely the right time, which is when everybody, yourselves included, we're all learning about it. We're learning about the lore. We're finding the different things that excite us about it. And that opportunity for you to show that there are different ways to interact and make it your own So that's the thing that I really loved about the Trench Titans content, the campaigns and the post game games. It's just, we had this wacky idea, we had this cool thing that we thought we'd try, and
exactly, and it's just like the Tabletop Titans channel stuff. The philosophy is the same in the sense that it's like modeling the way that we like to play this game, and it's joking, having fun, but also like still having these crazy epic moments and these tragic moments, and kind of just celebrating that. And again, Trench Crusade is not a competitive game. It's not a game that is good at that. It is not balanced, and that's kind of by design. And it is a tough sell for some people. I know they'll roll out and their guy gets headshot right away, and they're like, "This game is stupid." I'm like, you have to embrace the pain and the suffering, because that is part of it. Is like the meme, like your guy just died, now you get to roll in the injury chart, which is one of my favorite things to do. And like approaching it from that standpoint and sort of turn off that other part of your brain that wants to optimize anything. Like it was so fun when something horrible would happen and your guy would be mutilated, and now it's part of their story, or the guy's paranoid now, and developing those stories and rolling on random charts that takes us right back to Realms of Chaos.
It's the best part. It's the best part of the old Realms of Chaos books.
Yep.
It's the best part of Blood Bowl. It's the best part of Mordheim. Like, people are like, I love Mordheim, and I'm like, you don't. I'm like, when was the last time you played Mordheim? The best part of Mordheim is after the game where you rolled on the chart. You're like, this crazy thing happened, or my best guy found a magic sword, or what. Like, that's the best part of the game. Trench Crusade is the same thing. You're like, let's show up, let's roll some dice. I assume everything is going to die, and then we'll roll on the chart. Like, that's what you're signing up for.
Exactly.
I mean, I got to the point in the second campaign where one of my stupid butcher knights, because I was playing the Great Hunger, one of my butcher knights had 2 battle scars on him, and he was absolutely useless. I'm like, I need this guy to die. I was trying to get him out there to get him killed, so that way I could get him retired. And then he kept hanging on. And I was like, this guy needs to die. But he just kept hanging on. And so that was my goal. The entire campaign was to kill this model so that I could retire him.
And you always seem to have it the worst. And in the first season, half of Brian's guys are missing an eye and they don't know where they are. Yeah. And then Trench Brian takes that and he kind of turns it into objectives in the final scenario where they think that they've found basically Glaston himself, this saint. And everyone playing the game knows that is not Glaston. But they can't see anything.
Tell,
They're out of it, and so they're so excited, and that is the thing that he needs to try to do, fully knowing that it's a farce, that it is doomed to fail, and that kind of character development is just like so much fun,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's So Elijah D. Prophet mentioning Cauldron has something similar to Mordheim. Cauldron is actually the game we ended up playing our Realm of Chaos thing on, because it was loose, it was super loose, but just enough structure to kind of lean into the kit bashes that we had done. We were like, we don't really care which rail system we're going to use. We were using charts from Realm of Chaos, which is not any game system that everyone's going to use, right? So Cauldron is a great system.
Figure we got about 20 minutes, and then we got to jump into the miniatures if we want to get you guys out of here on time. So
yeah. Sorry, we can talk all day.
No, same. Like, I'm bad. I'm trying to be good today.
No, I appreciate it.
New subject.
So let's see what we got. This is another one from season 2. Again, just leaning into that nautical theme, which happened to lead right into the Blood and Water stuff at Adepticon. So it was really, really, again, what a great community that they let us kind of connect with that and tell our story, leading into their story, which then, of course, led into Carcass Front. Was such a cool opportunity that I'd never in a million years would have thought would have happened. These are ping pong balls, by the way, from one of the party games from the first season.
Those sea mines are great.
Thank you. It's so much fun.
I think that's probably one of my favorite parts about just doing the Trench Crusade stuff is it affords the creative space to do things like this, where we can do a narrative intro that takes 5 minutes to get through in the beginning, whatever, and people are there for it. They're sticking around. They are showing up for this intro. Like, the game is great. Obviously love the game. Yeah. But like, that is amazing, right? And you see these types of intros or these types of like videos, and then at the end when we're doing the same thing with the script overlay on top, it's just like, it's just so good. Like the narration in addition to the videos and stuff, it's incredible.
Appreciate that. So yeah, let's see what we have. I think that's it for the Trench Crusade photos, but let's see.
I think it is. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's it there. Sorry.
So, again, thinking about projects, turning projects into other projects, and just always having more plates spinning because we're obsessed like that. The other thing, as we mentioned, we always wanted to do was make our own game. It was always the dream. Can we make our own project and put it out there? And so Wildwood was born. It wasn't Wildwood at first. Actually, it was originally a Sky Pirates game, which is cool, but also
wow, that's quite the departure.
It's a big departure.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
So we landed on Wildwood for many different reasons, but one of the big ones was
you just couldn't get the pirate ships to work. You were like, forget it, we're not doing
Adding pirate ships was a nightmare, turns out.
Well, so
It was good to put the teeth on the pirate ships.
it had the opposite. It was exactly the wrong thing to start with, because it was like there's a million different types of like cultures and like races and things you can do with that. It was so crazy all over the place. It was like so not focused, and we needed the exact opposite. For our first attempt to try to make it a game, we wanted to make it a smaller world, really zoom in and kind of focus on that. So while the game system is exactly the same, actually, it is Wildwood. So it's a Stone Age fantasy game. This is kind of before the traditional fantasy folk that we know of them. The dwarfs are literally cavemen who haven't even learned how to mine yet. The elves are still they have vestigial hoofs because they're related to deer. We've got these undead, sort of primordial tree ant undead creatures. And so it's going back to, forgive the pun, the roots of these mythologies, and like, oh, here's another game with orcs and elves and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yes, it is, but let's play with it in a bit of a different context. Let's play with the primitive versions of those and talk about those mythologies rather than shying away from it and being like, this is orc with a K instead of a C, so it's different, you know? It's like, let's lean into the things that we love about that.
It's orc with a Q. I don't want to get sued.
Oh yeah, sorry. or Q. Orca. And so that was a big thing. And similar to our Titans terrain, we wanted to make sure this was just a thing we were happy to make and do no matter what happened. So I mentioned loving Inquisitor and Inquisitor games and things like that. This game is also big models. These normal models are on a 60 mil base, so they're massive. And here is one of the leaders who's on 120 millimeter base. And it's wildly different than anything. I think there's a lot of reasons not to do big models, but we said, screw it. We want to do what we want to do. Just 5 models on each side. And again, everyone wants to be this lifestyle brand, this lifestyle game. Buy 100 models, build, paint them, commit to all this stuff. And it's like, I don't have time for that. How can I possibly expect other people to have time for that? So Wildwood is very much designed as your second game, your third game, your side game to play, where it's just 5 models. It's easy to pick up. They're big. They're beautiful. It's also a diceless system, so you build with a deck of cards. So there's kind of that deck building there, and it moves the randomness out of the dice into being much more thoughtful. And what this also means is it means the game's much more accessible. This is also a game for folks who've been miniature curious, but never have quite stepped in. You know, we had so many people come up to us at Adepticon, and it was like Wargamer and their significant other. And they were like, well, I've always been curious, but there's just too much. And they were really interested in Wildwood. And that kind of really perfectly encapsulates what we were trying to do with it.
Yeah, we're doing demos at the booth. There was a lot of partners or significant others that showed them. Like, I've never played war games before. I've done a handful of board games, but even then I'm not really big into the scene. And then we went through the demo, we played the game, like, wow, this is actually very easy to digest. It's very simple. Obviously a little biased on our side of things. Of course we're gonna say that, but like, great, but genuinely, like, it's very simple system, like, but not in a bad way. You know, it's
Brian's like, it's fine, it's not for me.
Yeah, I actually kind of hate it, turns out.
But yeah, no, and that's exactly it. Like, make it, again, it's the classic thing. You want it to be simple to pick up, hard to master kind of deal, and really kind of taking that to heart. So yeah, so right now we're well into development. We are working with manufacturers, working with a company called Unicool, and the reason I mentioned that is because we're using their Unicool resin. It's like a resin plastic hybrid, which I fell in love with through Creature Caster's work. And it's really nice. It doesn't come on sprues like resin, which is nice, but it doesn't have all the extra flash of resin. So it's this really nice combination of the two. You're getting almost the best of both worlds. And so we're doing that. We are working with Creature Caster to do the sculpting, because I mean, like, if you want to do something you love, you got to go find the people who do work that you love. So we've been working very closely with them to do all this development. So, and then again, the core of everything we do, community. Build as a group, bring everyone in. And so that's why we're doing a lot of this development out in the open. We've got a Discord where people are hanging out. We have Raiko in chat, who is our amazing kind of chief of community, developed a tabletop simulator mod where you can play the entire game every Wednesday we have Wildwood nights, and everyone drops online. We get multiple games running, and that way we can test this game, try it out, hopefully catch everything before the cards go to print, all that kind of stuff, and try to build that community before the launch, which will be a little bit later on. And so, you can't come out of nowhere and expect everyone to show up. We have to be like, here's a thing, we're committed to it, we want to make it a thing. Let's help get the word out there, get these models to painters, stuff like that.
Excellent. Just quickly jumping into the chat. Pete Hairston has joined us. Hi, Pete. He said, great to see Adrian and Brian. Awesome to meet you at Adepticon.
Absolutely. Likewise.
Minis are gorgeous. Courtney has joined us, figuratively speaking minis. Adepticon was awesome. Totally drew me in. Patrick Keith says there's some really top sculpts. I'm an old Wood Elf fan from way back.
There's a lot of old Wood Elf references for sure. Yeah. They're all basically like the versions of these things that we would have wanted. We're like, what's the Wood Elf we guys wanted?
It's very similar to like the original sculpt of like Orion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Orion's guys. It's like the Kurnoth, like it's that vibe.
Exactly. So this is Adwana is the elf leader, but we actually fully designed the other one, which was basically Orion. It's absolutely where those influences come from.
Awesome.
Oh, there we go.
So here's a photo of one of the models, and then the cards as well. And again, it comes back to like community and working with people you want to work with. So all this art is done by a tattoo artist who goes by Wicktail, who we met through the channel. She had painted up a model for our Titan Watch. I met her in Southampton, meeting our friends over there. And again, it was a person who has this amazing kind of already this witchy woody kind of style. And I knew exactly who I wanted to work with for it. And so just having like a strong artistic direction and opinion was so important to us. It's like what I say, it's better to have a wrong opinion than no opinion. And
I think that helps so much when a game has a very specific vibe and has a very specific style. I think that's what gets people. Granted, you're always gonna have people who are like, oh, that's not my thing, and you're gonna lose people, and I get that. But if you try to be too like middle of the road, I feel like nobody is really satisfied. Like you're like, that's pretty cool. I don't want to play that. And like when you do something that's really stylized, it's like if the four of us look at it at Adepticon, let's say Brian and I are both like, yeah, we're in. And Dave's like, okay. And Adrian's like, I'll dabble. Like they're gonna get two of us. Like that's what that's the goal. So
yeah, exactly. And then they inevitably loop you in. You're like, I have two warbands, might as well play. And you're like,
I brought the starter. Come on, Dave.
Exactly.
Excellent. I'm also going to call out in the chat. Josh Potter said accessibility is a big goal. It's something that a company I work with has taken to heart. It's nice to hear that other creators are driving for accessibility as well. So
it's so important.
Yeah, it's so important.
It really, really, really is, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, fantastic. I was going to say, just some of the art here also reminds me of Martin McCoy's work.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that.
Martin's also a tattoo artist.
Yeah. It's been really fun working with Wicktail because again, she's a tattoo artist, and they all work digitally as well. But like this was really like this is hundreds of original pieces of artwork that we're kind of commissioning her for. So it's been so cool to learn from her on her medium, and then kind of take that back and forth. And so all kinds of things I never would have expected that came up. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, no, that's great. Very cool.
Oh yeah, just another picture. This is the orc leader who I'm super, super excited about. Every time the leaders get bigger and bigger, I'm like, we need to stop. We cannot.
I remember the conversation surrounding the king, the leader of the human faction was the biggest model by far. And
the guy on the throne, that model's great.
Yeah, man sat on the throne. It's like, all right, this is too much. Like we gotta relax. So we gotta scale down the dragon skull by like 10%. And then that didn't happen. And then now here we are with this, and we're just like, all right, we're just gonna lean into it.
This is the reduced version too, but it's massive.
It's huge.
So it's like, is it the most practical thing for us? Well, maybe not, but it's the thing we wanted to do. And so, screw the rest. Let's just make it happen.
The dwarf guy on the bear is rad.
No, thank you. Yeah, you gotta love the dwarf guy on the bear.
Yeah. So I like your Doomslayer. I mean, Painseeker.
When we gave it to Izzy to paint, we were like, under no circumstances can you make this man a ginger, because that will be the line we will cross. But exactly, just like let's lean into those influences and those things that inspired us, and just have fun with it.
So in you mentioned, wrong direction. Doing all the wrong things now.
No, you're good.
Yeah. Like that. So you mentioned 5 models. Obviously, talking about the size of these models.
Yeah.
But that's the size of the focal model for the playing, right?
That's the 120 mil exactly, and then the rest are all on 60 millimeters. There are a couple summons for a couple characters, and those are on like 40s, so positively tiny. But by and large, it's the 60 mils.
Right. Excellent. So what scale, if you were to say the game was in a particular scale, what would it be? Would it be 50 mil or? It's
bigger than 50 mil. It's like 62 technically, I think. I had 75 in my head, but it's a bit smaller than that. So yeah, I think 62.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's big. Again, we tried being reasonable and we just didn't want to do that.
Like it goes back to that thing you've been saying all along. It's like, what's the fun thing that we want to do?
Yeah, what do we want to do? Let's have an opinion with it. And again, the size was very, very intentional with that. You know, there's so many like this stands in as this or this over this, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, there's a lot of great models out there, but how can we do something that does feel different? And that big scale was part of it. And then part of it is also like, I have so many friends that just want to paint models. They're not the game players. They just want to paint. So why not, like, let's get these models and get them out there. I wish I had more time for paint. I still have everything I bought last Adepticon, all my display things, but because I don't play them in a game, I never get to them. So again, I was like, let's do something that can maybe be both at the same time. So
yeah, I think a big draw for a lot of people, like Adrian was saying, there's a lot of people that want to purchase models, but they don't want to purchase models if there's no game attached to it. And on the other side, they don't want to buy a game because they know they're not going to play the game, right? So if the models are directly attached to a game, and they know they're not going to do it. And it's a smaller scale. Like, well, I already play 40K. Like, I'm not going to do that. Or like, I already have Star Wars Legion or, you know, MCP or whatever the other game system is. Like, they're not going to buy into it because, again, the models don't sync to them. They're not different enough to make you want to get into it. Whereas this, they are very different from anything else. And there's also a game attached to it. And it's a different kind of game that's not just, well, here's a skirmish game that's on a D10 system or that uses D8s or
Here's
whatever.
like,
my slightly different like variation on the norm. It's a card. It's a card game, essentially, at the end of the day, right? So it is very, very different, and it is very attractive to people that don't play miniature games at the moment that also do things like Magic or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever the case is, right? It opens a door to a different audience to get them into this hobby that they normally otherwise wouldn't have gotten into. Now, of course, that also comes to the models on that side of things, but, you know, it gets them in the conversation at least, and I think that's really important, is to just make them aware of it and kind of introduce them into this space.
I think the cards are a good point to bring up there because a lot of people, without like really playing it, it'd be hard to tell sometimes. The cards are essential. There's a lot of miniature games with cards, and I'm not naming names, but a lot of the time it's like, well, that's part of the rule book, or that's could have been a stratagem or a character sheet. The cards are like fundamental to how you play. It's literally, that is your abilities on top of just your basic one that you do. And so building that from the ground up as like the randomization effect and things like that. And so again, there's so many good games. 1,500 new board games came out at Essenspiel last year. There's so much stuff going on. So the only thing we can do is try to do something that we're excited about and that feels a little bit different, and just, you know, try to do a good job at it.
I always think the people are always like, what's the golden ruling in our industry? And I'm like, the only golden rule is make something cool. That's the only golden rule. Like there's no silver bullet that is going to slay everything. Like, even talking about miniatures like you guys just were, I know a ton of people that Brian and I are obviously, it sounds like similar. Like, if I know I don't need that model, or if I'm not going to use it for something, or unless I'm like, I really want to paint that for my friend or something, I'm not going to buy it. Like, but then I have friends who are completely opposite. They'll come home with an armload of stuff, and I'm like, what's that? And they're like, I thought this was really cool. I'm going to paint that. I thought this was really cool. Are you going to play that game? Probably not, but I thought the models were really rad. Like, they'll just buy stuff because they want to paint it. Like, I understand there's like the dragon mentality. You want your hoard of treasure to sit on or whatever, but like even that, like, you and I thinking that, like, oh, why would anybody buy that? And then there's a whole group of people that are like, yeah, it looked cool, so I thought I'd buy it. Yeah. So like, even that, like, there's still no right answer.
So true.
Excellent. So one of the questions I did have, I've only played one miniatures game that is cards instead of dice, and of course that's Malifaux, where it's.
I don't think that's a thing.
Malifaux.
I've never heard of it. I'm not familiar.
Yeah, never heard of
But,
it.
how do the cards? I mean, looking at these cards here, Wild Instinct, Bird of Prey, and Guardian's Gift, how are they just briefly those cards function?
Totally. Yeah, so I'll say, so it's an alternating activation game. I do a model, you do a model, back and forth. And by and large, when you activate a champion, you can move, and then you can do one other thing, and that will generally end your activation. So everyone has a baseline ability, which is actually on their character sheet, and that's that. So they can do that ability. You can pick up a wisp, which is how you get points, and that's also how you unlock new abilities on your character sheet. But that's it. So at a baseline, it's very, very simple. You might attack, you might just be a heal or whatever. The cards are then additional effects. So you can see at the top, there's the cost, and it works like Hearthstone-style mana, where you get an additional fate each turn. 1 the first one, then 2, then 3, then 4. You can't bank them, so you might as well spend them. And you can see 2 of these actually cost 0, because the idea is like always be doing something. And these are Leaf Song cards. So at the bottom, you can see it says doesn't exhaust, which means it does not end your activation. So that's like the only way you can get additional game actions in an activation. And the elves, of course, being fast and nimble, lean more towards that, lower cost cards, things that don't exhaust. But other than that, it just kind of says what it does. So we can see that bottom one says Wild Speaker, which is, of course, the sort of animal hunter character. It's an action, and it'll flip priority, basically. But you have to activate with the Wild Speaker, and it doesn't exhaust. So they kind of just say what they do, and that's that. The other interesting thing with the cards is you always draw up to 7 at the start of your turn. So it's basically you're always flooded with lots of options, and you're incentivized to take game actions and play. I don't want people just sitting on their cards and holding them and hoarding them. It's like Magic would play very different if every card said, after you play this card, draw another one at the start of the next turn. And like, what does that mean for that? And so they are fundamental to doing anything beyond your basic abilities.
Okay.
Yeah, and for the decks as well, you make your own deck. It's like, again, it's a deck building system, right? And so there's like a 100 and some odd total cards.
Something like it's more than that total.
Well,
but,
sorry, per faction.
Per
like
faction.
100 and some odd cards per faction. Then you make your deck from those cards. So like you can really customize the way that the warbands play. Like me and Adrian just played a game recently where I was playing the elves, Adrian was playing the dwarves, and I went through basically my whole deck.
Yeah, you were cycling so fast.
I wasn't even like trying to go through it. I was just like, I just have so many cards that don't cost a lot that I can just continue to play. And it was the first time I'd actually done that. And I was like, oh, this feels really good. I was concerned I wouldn't have cards at the end of the game, but like it didn't matter. I was getting to do all this stuff during the game. So it was really, really cool.
Yeah, lots of different ways to build it. It's not a TCG. It's you'll get your pack, and that'll give you all your character sheets, your tokens, and then all the cards for your faction. So it's all there. It's not about how many booster packs you can buy. It's about here's all these options. How do you build out your deck to different strategies, different techniques? Because that's the other thing I love about war games is like that tinkering. Even when you're not playing or building or painting, the thinking about lists and writing lists and considering that, sending it to your friend, that's super important to me. I love that in the game, and that creates conversations between people. So making sure that like list building is important. On launch, it's just 5 champions available, but basically immediately we're going to be doing additional ones. So you can have new selections for champions, and then obviously there'll be new cards as well and things like that. But even at the baseline, there's so many deck building options.
Right. Excellent. Okay, cool. Thanks for that. So I think we are at that point where we're ready to move to the next section of the show.
Oh, exciting.
But it has been super cool going through and learning the origin story. I'm a big fan of origin stories, like the behind the scenes, sort of the origin stories of Tabletop Titans and how things have progressed, and just continuing to learn more about the way that you think.
Yeah.
The things that drive you guys, which has been very cool.
Fun talk.
I'm sure we'll be talking to you guys more, like with the whole arena challenge thing and all that.
Yes.
Dust that stuff off and make sure I'm on top of things. I don't think they've given us like our first sort of deadline yet. So that's kind of what I need. Like David and I have gone on with our projects. Like if I don't have a deadline, I'm like, whatever. I don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, it's not on fire.
Yeah.
I think there might be like a May, sometime in May.
Oh no.
For a test model. So,
that's just one model though. We got so much time.
That's
one
easy.
Model.
I'll probably wait till at least May to do that.
Yeah, exactly. The night before.
May 15th, 9 a.m. Right? Sure.
Like if you're not painting the night before the event, are you really trying?
Yeah, like what are we doing here?
Exactly.
What's up, Phil?
Oh, Phil.
Oh, Phil's in the house.
Hey, Phil. Excellent.
Yeah, I think it's so what it is from the factory team. It's what it's me, Phil, Courtney, Uncle Adam,
Sam.
Yeah, Sam's doing it.
Yeah, Sam's doing it, and Tyler.
Tyler's
Yeah,
definitely
Tyler's
doing it.
definitely
For
doing
sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's a bunch of people. I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. Cool. Okay. So yeah, now we go through. We mentioning community quite a bit. We talked about the minis that our community have been painting over the last week. So
I left Heresy out. Heresy's also doing it.
Ah, nice.
Okay, cool. And I pressed that button way too early again. The joys of live, right? There we go.
Classic. That's the joy.
I'm not Dave. I'm not going back to edit any of this.
Here's the funny part. Neither am I.
Yeah, there we go.
Look, there's a reason we do it all live.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Ah.
Awesome. So yep, first up, Adam Weller. So another fantastic piece here. Just beautiful work on the
He gets such great volumes.
Yeah, I was just looking at that, and all of it looks so soft too. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very subtle. Like there's 4 different purples in here, 5 different purples in here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just all working beautifully well. And one of the things I'm loving as well in this one, Adam always pays particular attention to the different textures.
Mm-hmm.
So each texture is different, but even to the point here where the cloth here is different is just rendered very differently to the cloth here.
Right.
Which it would be. It's reading as 2 different types of cloth, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I think the gold on the earrings, especially the one that's turned sideways to us, so it's just the side.
Yeah.
And then the 3 bars on the necklace, like that, those textures are crazy.
Yeah.
So warm. Oh my goodness.
It's a really nice contrast as well, because you have like a lot of the cold tones with like the purple and the blues and stuff, and then you go into the gold that has a lot of warm tones. It reads really, really well.
Adam's pretty good. I think he's got a future.
He does.
Maybe.
Keep at it. Keep at it, Adam.
Yeah.
Keep at it. Back to the paint mines.
Yeah, exactly.
Next up, Cal. Cal's been working on this awesome. This is a wild snake. The crazy.
Dude, it's like brain is showing. It has its tongue out.
Wild. What?
This is how I wish Tyranny looked, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
A little bit more reptilian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like some insane.
This has got to be from that same studio. He's buying all those. He does a lot of like D&D adventure stuff, so he has like all these different pieces.
Yeah,
this is sick.
Totally sick.
I
love
always
the
forget.
replicants.
Dave, what's the studio he always gets stuff from?
he uses a lot of Otherworld.
Okay.
World miniatures.
Okay, yeah.
But,
Cool stuff.
but I am loving the way that so he's got the reds and browns,
Mm-hmm.
but then the spines go up to black. Just that sort of fade out to black.
It's important too because you have the brain, which is again kind of back to that reddish hue. So despite kind of starting in this red orange shade, by the time you work up to the top, the brain still pops.
Yeah.
Whereas if they had kept that the same, it would just kind of be muddled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Excellent work there, Cal. Looking great. Cool. Chris Jones.
Ooh.
Is it Baby Night?
What does it atropose?
Yeah, but is it like a Titanicus one?
Oh.
No.
I don't think so.
No, I think that's a full size. That's not epic scale.
Yep.
It's the blurry background.
It's just the candles that made me think that it was like a Titanicus scale.
I love the candles.
You know, like those are really tiny buildings.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
He was talking about how he really got to experiment with like the weathering stuff on this. So like all the weathering on the white, he like did a new technique. I think that he said he hasn't done before.
Cool.
He was really happy with how it came out. So
yeah, working a lot of weathering, like thin, like weathering powders, thin with like mineral spirits over the sort of washing that over the toes and that kind of thing.
That's lovely.
Yeah, I really appreciate when people weather the nights. It makes them feel very kind of like lived in, almost like they're actually in the environment doing whatever. Like if they're just pristine, it feels a little weird. Not weird. Weird's not the right word.
It's wrong. This thing hasn't been in battle.
Right, exactly. Like they're like fresh off the press, you know?
Then it would be a baby night.
But I also imagine that every knight has a horde of squires when he's like, "Squire, polish my armor," and they're all like,
Yeah.
Smaller knights that are on ladders and stuff.
That's too
Oh,
funny.
a bunch of guys with high pressure hoses.
Yeah. But Power Wash Simulator.
Yeah, exactly. Looks great there, Chris. Good work. Next up, these are a few shots of things that I've been working on.
Nice.
Use my envy. There's a ability. I think I mentioned it last week. There's an ability that the envy can get, which is envious eyes, which allows you to take items from other lists.
So he's got the mechanized armor on.
That's so funny.
That is
on my Praetor, and my sorcerer has the Tarquin.
The bird. The bird.
Yeah, the Iron Sultanate.
Yeah, Brendan's like, I covet those.
That's amazing. Dave, did you, because you were talking about maybe doing some digital kit bashing? Is that what you did here, or was this?
Yeah. So basically, I took the machine armor kit, sliced it up, and merged it. So for this one, it's the torso and the and the greaves.
Yeah.
For the sorcerer, I did a similar thing. Instead of, I think it's normally holding a sword in the lower right hand, has shackles there to shackle enemies who it covets. And then I've got part of the covetous sort of nature is a snake. Actually, it's like a snake, so I put a snake in the lower right hand.
Oh, I just noticed the lion of Jabir that they're standing on. Wow, the disrespect. So what the heck?
Exactly. So lots of fun there.
Feels like who's this Dave Taylor guy showing off unpainted minis?
Yeah, this guy sucks.
So, here's 2 Hell Knights. So I wanted to give them the bull helmet. So I cut off the brazen bull head digitally, took it down, put it on the Hell Knights here. I bought some like a third-party man catcher set of files for man catchers. So they're all about grabbing sort of their enemy, the people whose stuff they covet, grabbing them so they can remove it carefully.
Carefully, yeah.
All I can think of is what is it, Minotaur from the Harryhausen movies, where there's the giant gold bull that like.
Right. Yep.
Minotaur.
Here's some digital kit bashing for my hopefully for my Yoke Fiends. I have a request in with Lyle Lowry. It's a great announcement for folks who haven't seen. Lyle Lowry, former editor of White Dwarf, is now doing some work with Trench Crusade or in Trench Wire, but he's also the final arbiter as to what we get to use in the arena challenge.
Dave, I like that you really lean into this. You're like they're yoked fiends. Like these guys have been all in the gym like nonstop.
These guys are super yoked for sure.
So yoked.
But again, a couple of
He's like, I read that wrong. I put the impetus on the yoked. Like I thought they're like yoked, like gym fiends, and you're like, no, they're like devils that are like they're yoked in a service. And he's like, yeah, I did that wrong.
No, they're just gym bros.
3 gym bros.
My bad. But,
Yo, we heard there's a new membership here.
Yeah. Do you even lift?
Yeah.
But the thing here that I wanted to do was this is based on an idea from Brendan where he said normally you might think, okay, wretches would be, if they're taken from other war bands, would be yeomen or azebs or that sort of thing. But really, you covet power, so you want to be the most powerful. So you can see the Yoke Fiend on the left there has the halberd gun from the Uzbazi, who's the leader of war bands. Guy on the right, cut off his right hand and mirrored it and put it on his left hand, so he has 2 of the castigator style flails. So picking people who are important in other war bands, who have power in other war bands, so taking their power from them, which means that the wretches.
Oh my gosh! Oh, these are great.
These are some really wild files that I found. Hopefully I'm going to be allowed to use these. But,
he's going to get banned.
Yeah. How come Dave's not in the arena challenge? He got shadow banned. He's not allowed.
Many things, but yeah, this is Brendan's idea, and really enjoying
cool.
Having just messing around with these.
So fun.
These are really cool.
So that's been my weekend hobby. There we go. Next up,
Dude.
Lou.
Sulin killed it. Like Robbie is such a great model, and he looks so good.
Yeah.
All that fucking trim.
Nightmare. And like even the base is amazing. On the right hand, you can see some really nice marbling on that eagle.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And the sword is baller too. Like
Yeah,
I think like the blue on the sword would kind of get lost in the blue on the armor, but it actually doesn't because it's very different from the armor.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
That's really nice.
He's such a cool model. I have Gilliman in a box somewhere. A buddy of mine gave him to me because he was like, I'm never going to paint this. And I was like, yeah, I'll probably get to it at some point eventually.
When they do a new version.
Yeah.
This is lovely.
Yeah, I think the blue on the sword really works because it, rather than being like that normal orange flame, which sort of would draw your eye away from
the
face, I think this pushes it back, your face back into the center there. Like not your face, but your gaze back towards the face.
That's lovely.
But,
Dude, the Hand of Dominion is such a monster piece of hardware. Like, I just love the idea of it. It's like, oh, it's a Primarch scaled power fist that has an underslung heavy bolter. And like,
so insane. The top of the gauntlet is just another like full Space Marine shoulder pad.
Yeah. Oh my god. No, that's like a Space Marine shield. That's like an Aegis.
Yeah, sure. It's a storm chamber.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
That model's so rad. I love it.
But yeah, beautiful work, Sulin. And Sulin is also messing around with some non-metallic metal custodies.
Oh.
I will say I like that he did what I do for my metallic custodies, which is you start with brown. If it's going to be gold, you start with brown.
I love that.
God, it's rendered so nicely too.
Right?
Even the color shift he did on his face because of the reflection is super cool too.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, that model's great.
That's epic.
Just like the Heresy said that he has a Robuta Gilliman with rainbow trim.
Of course you do.
Sick.
I mean, that Robo Gilliman sounds like Macho Man Savage. Heresy, did you green stuff on some wraparound like Oakley blades? Yeah, brother, the cream rises to the top.
Fantastic. But yeah, beautiful work there, Sulin. Looking forward to seeing some more of these. I don't know. I know I certainly couldn't do non-metallic metal for a whole army.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, like a guy, and then
that sounds like power talk.
Photo of him, and then he goes in a cave.
Let's go. Beautiful work. Next up, Justin McCoy.
Fun.
Yeah, Justin's working on a very Hellhound here. Yeah.
We play too much Warhammer.
We play too much Warhammer. This is the cool old Forge World one too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he was saying he did bunched up track sections, which is like the tank slewing. So the idea is when you turn it, like there's like slack in the track.
Yeah,
and they're offset. It's the front left corner and the back right corner. So it's like slewing in place.
That's amazing.
That's so sick.
Right. But yeah, just awesome detailing there. Excellent work, Justin.
It's really fun.
Luis is working on his deliverers. So, so these are guys. These are a specialist Raven Guard unit for the Horus Heresy.
Yep, they're one of the only units in the game that natively has deep strike, which is disgusting.
Oh my god.
So their built-in rule is they can't be on the battlefield if Korax is, because the idea is that Korax doesn't like them. So like they trained with the Justarin, like the first company of the Sons of Horus. So he starts them off the battlefield with Korax, and then if anything happens to Korax, or if and Korax has the ability where you can remove him, so then he'll put them onto the table, and then they usually show up and they'll just smash into stuff.
That's so cool. I love it.
40K needs more of that stuff.
Yeah,
it's like your Primarch hates you. Probably start off the table.
Dude, Heresy is the best game. I love Heresy.
So good.
We said as well here that he's working. He got some 3D printed lightning claws.
Yeah.
Technically, these are Raven's Talons, which are their special version of lightning claws. They're just better lightning claws, is what they are.
That's sick.
Is it because they're retractable?
I think it's rad. I really like the fact that they still have their hands free. It's like it's like the 2 new Raven Guard characters
Mhm.
that have their hands like free,
Right.
which makes sense. You're like, why would I have a power fist with a lightning claw on it? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, it's just Edward Scissorhands the whole time.
Yeah. Hopefully I don't have to hold a grenade. Just like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Although
this
he's
is
a little bit upset. He accidentally knocked over some of his lightning claws, and unfortunately, rather than having like a situation where one of them, like where all the blades came off one claw, it was like 5 or 6 of his claws lost one blade.
Oh, that's brutal.
oh
That's
yeah,
what
you
I'm
can see
thinking.
that one there. The left hand on the guy all the way to the left. Yeah, that one. It's only 3.
So I guess it's just battle damage now, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've been using a lot of the like tough resin for my 3D prints, and it can be a little bit too bendy sometimes, but overall it's been saved me a lot of headache.
He was really bummed out. He ordered a bunch of lightning claws from a vendor online, and he wanted the ones that look like the old Forge World ones. So they have like the big sort of clampy bird hands.
Yeah.
And they showed up, and he didn't realize that they were scaled for the new 40K Terminators.
Oh no!
So they're way too big. Like they all look like apes. Like their hands are like dragging on the ground. So he sent me a photo, and I was like, "Yeah, you can't use those." Also, he reached out to this guy and was like, "Hey, do you have anything else in a different scale?" And he sent him these. So like he's really happy about these. But
Perfect.
they're hilarious. Like they look so wacky with their giant arms.
They're yoked.
Excellent. Yeah. But looking forward to seeing those painted up, Luis. That'll be great. Mark Maxey. Mark's having some fun doing some sculpting.
Oh my gosh.
This is sick.
It's so fun. Oh my goodness. I love
He's like-
these.
His
Just like
screaming mushrooms are pretty rad.
It's so good.
Mark sculpts a lot of sort of chibi style Nurgle minis, and just having fun with these.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw him at weren't they? Didn't he had the Primarchs fighting at Adepticon, right?
Yeah.
Ah.
So
It was Chibi Mortarion and Chibi Magnus.
Totally missed
Did I
that.
miss
What the
that?
heck?
What?
Oh man.
You rushed me through the cases.
I'm
That's what
so
I
sorry. What? We need to find
That's
pictures.
awesome.
If anyone has pictures,
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
awesome.
head to
I had my
the
first.
just like the rest of these photos. Head to Build Paint Play community on
Yeah,
Facebook.
they're in there. He posted them all.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Not a paid actor, by the way. That
Yeah,
was an
yeah,
actual
not a
question.
plant. Genuine question.
Definitely timed. I know.
Yeah.
No, fantastic. And Mark, just before the show, well, actually earlier today, he posted these. So he's getting some paint on them, which is looking.
Oh,
looks sick.
it's so cute.
Awesome.
There we go. The Fungal Mancer.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. This is what I love about Nurgle is they have that injection of humor that is so rare in Warhammer, and it's just like this perfect combination of just nasty and hilarious.
Yep.
And it's just such a fun space to play in.
It's like them and Grots, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Them Grots and Caiaphas Kane. That's it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta Kane, exactly.
He's the best.
Oh, amazing.
That's so sick.
But Mark, I will also mention the eye. I think everybody's been mentioning that on the photo and also in the chat here. He says that eyeball is coming out incredible. But,
Yeah, he always does a great job with his eyes.
Yeah,
Amazing.
amazing. But beautiful work there, Mark. Looking fantastic.
It's kind of Mark's signature, as he always does like a cool eye.
Spectacular.
It's awesome.
Next up, Pat Lewis.
Oh, Sultanate. Let's go.
He's plugging away through the his Iron Sultanate force. These subs are looking great. I'm really enjoying the basing on these as well.
I
was looking at that too.
The sandbag with the cross hatching is just like next level.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And some, I just noticed the candles. There.
Yes.
Look at the horns on a skull.
Yeah. It's so fun.
It's so good.
So, but looking fantastic. Very excited. Next time we catch up, Pat, we'll have to get a game in. That'll be awesome. Looking good. Patrick Keith is working on some of his Corsairs.
Nice.
These models are a nightmare. Absolute nightmare to work on.
Yeah.
You don't like building them?
have not. So I play Eldar. That's like my main army in 40K, and I have a ton of the Corsair stuff.
Yeah.
Just never really worked on it because one, they're a pain in the butt to build, and then when you do build them and you go to painting them, there's so many stupid little gubbins and details and extra little things. Like
there's a lot of
nightmare, man.
Yep. Are they all kind of baked into the model? So
Yeah.
some of them aren't, but like some of them you have to use because then it doesn't make any sense on the model. So
Right. There's like gaps.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, there's a bunch of that in their future. Oh,
they are super nice. Like who doesn't love? This takes me back. Who doesn't love elf space pirates? Like
right?
Yeah, it's
Like,
such a sick like sub faction within the main faction, and I adore the models. Looking at the models is great. Working on the models, less so.
They're great when they're done.
So
this was another one which was not in my 2026 bingo card. It was more Corsairs. So really, really glad Patrick's able to dive in. And then you got all the heads up top, which is again super fun because they're all so bespoke.
Yeah, and it's the correct way to do it.
Yeah, do them separately.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And you have the pop of white for the green.
That crazy sorcerer head with like the face thing.
Yeah.
Like it's such a. I mean, they're all such cool models.
Right?
I really do love like all the pirates, like the new, like all the red Corsairs, all the Eldar Corsairs, like space pirates. I'm in. Like, take my money. I bought a ton of them.
Circle back to that space pirates game idea.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Who doesn't love it?
Yeah, reach out. Let us know. I will help. I want it. Anything with space pirates.
I'll hit you up.
Awesome. But yeah, looking fantastic there, Patrick. Nice one. Pete Heston. Pete is working on his the Covenant of Constantine, I think.
It's very Roman.
Yeah.
Roman aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like
this guy is an
metal
absolute
toes
unit.
poking out.
What's that?
The metal toes poking out.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got a little
he's got the
toes.
sandals. Yes. This is amazing. I feel so bad for the bull guy. Oh my god.
He's happy to be there.
Is he? He's like, yeah.
But don't they fight to get on the shield? They like
It is an honor.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to be blessed. This is a sick sculpt too.
This is really, really
Nice,
cool.
nice.
And I like the little bits of cloth that stick out from the armor too. So,
You know, it helps break it up. So like even here, right, there's a lot of like metal, and it's the classic difficulty with Trench Crusade is like, how do you make everything not just brown and grays, right?
Yeah.
And so they're breaking it up here with a little bit of brass, a little bit of red. It's a nice touch.
I want to see Chris Gorka paint a Trench Crusade warband.
Oh,
yeah.
His stuff is so bright and so crazy. Like I was like, or like Heresy. I can't wait to see Heresy's like, synthwave leopard print like warband. I'm here for it.
sick.
But Pete's in the chat. He said, "Yeah, I'm loving these sculpts. Where do they come from? Let us know, Pete."
They're cool.
But,
yeah, this gladiator on the back is sick.
Right.
yeah.
That's got to be the
So that's a,
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
So good.
Yeah. It's got to be the communicant. That's Klaus.
Yeah. Quiet Klaus.
Quiet Klaus. Alex Tool.
Those are great.
Notice on the belt there, he has that sort of Roman symbol.
Right.
You find that on a lot of shields, a lot of the Scrutum shields.
So sick.
Yeah, looking great.
Hmm.
And I love
Yes.
Double-sided tank hammer? Yes.
Well, it's for when you missed the first time. You got the backswing.
I imagine it's like boom, boom.
Yeah, you'd want to swing. I think you'd want to swing it this way.
Oh, that's much smarter. It should give you a cleave at that point.
Yeah.
And then like casually holding the revolver.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. Just with a dump there.
Yeah, this is where, and then you have this guy. He like, he drops his revolver, and then he's like, oh no, and then he like leans down and drops the hammer and kills himself.
It's too funny.
Very underqualified to use this weapon.
Yeah, I love it.
Pete says he found them on My Mini Factory from Alex Tool. So look for Alex Tool in My Mini Factory.
I also like, again, here, breaking up the color with the shield as this sort of like Romani relic, this like holy shield could be in honestly like a Byzantine like chapel or something. So it really helps connect it.
Super cool.
Absolutely. Definitely cool. Heresy said that he's literally painting leopard print on sniper.
Of course he is. I know Heresy.
Excellent. That's great. Fantastic work there, Pete. They're looking really cool.
Yeah, those are sick. I do love the vibe of like the Roman Legionnaire helmet with the gas mask. Like that
works really well.
There's something to it. It's so good.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where the look of the Roman legionaries is it's classic. It's very well known, well recognized, and being able to put it into different environments, different places, like bringing it forward 2,000 years for this, or 2,200 years for Fallout. Move. You can throw it into a lot of different places. It's out of place. You know it's wrong, but it's still cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a crested helmet. It's just what you gotta do.
Excellent. And Aaron says, if you're not yoinking treasures, is it even really a crusade? Excellent. Fantastic. And then next up, Reese.
Oh, yeah, this is Reese's
yeah.
fully converted Perturabo.
I've been following Reese's work on this. He was inspired by the new artwork, which was crazy, unprecedented. They're like, by the way, here's a picture of Demon Perturabo. Everyone's like, what?
Just in the background.
Good old Pete Turbo.
Yeah, classic Pete Turbo. It's awesome.
This is awesome.
It's very cool to see him painted up all nice and silver and hazard stripes.
This is sick.
I'm trying to identify a lot of these bits, and I just can't.
It's like very scratch built.
Yeah.
Reese,
That's pretty crazy.
Does a lot of 3D printing as well.
Well, like the chest looks like that's the front plate from a Leviathan Dreadnought, and then he used the missile tubes, which are, I think, from one of the vehicle kits, like a 40K vehicle. That's like from the missile batteries on all the new Space Marine tanks.
Right.
Yeah. That's the whole middle part, and then the thing on the top that looks like it's right off an orc like war boss. It's just like the twin like stubbers with like the cans and stuff.
And that's
I think the legs look like the upper part of the legs look like they're from either one of the Sentinel kits.
Oh yeah,
because they're like really skinny.
Yeah,
and they have that weird joint. You can see it on the far knee. Yeah, I think that's the upper. I think he turned them around, but I think that's like the upper bird leg part of the Sentinel. I think he just turned them around to use them as like regular legs.
That's sick.
But yeah, this thing is nuts. This is obviously a shitload of like plastic card and he's got all kinds of stuff in here.
I can only imagine how much it weighs too.
Yeah, it looks heavy.
It's brutal. But awesome work there, Reese. Nice stuff.
He's great.
And then finally, we got some stuff from Stephen Ryder.
I think that's an old Grenadier Triton.
I think you're right.
So sick.
What game is this from?
I think that's just old D&D models.
Oh, okay.
Classic.
Yeah. Stephen also does a lot of old hammer and very, very old school miniature painting.
Wait, Patrick, did you sculpt that?
Wait, what?
What?
He's like, hey, I sculpted that.
That's cool.
What?
Yep, that's great.
That's wild. I love it. I mean, I'm a fan of the teals, so
yeah,
it's like hard to go
wrong.
Yeah,
he sculpted it. What is it, Pat? What is it from? Or what is it for? I'm assuming it's D&D, but I don't know what company it is.
It might be Reaper then.
It was back in the day.
What?
That's
That's so cool.
Yeah. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
I am a sucker for teals. Like teals and sea greens, that's like my jam.
Yep.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
You don't do Sons of Horus by chance, do you?
I do not.
I remember. Excellent. Well, just quickly then, we're going to move on to a couple more Stephen's got here. Cool fun knights that he's painting up.
Classic.
Yep.
That's so fun.
I like how knights, you could get away with these crazy color combinations. Like I remember when I painted as a commission, I did the Bretonnians. Yeah. And I had to learn all of this like knight history, like the heraldry rules, because there were rules for all of it, you know?
Yes, there are.
Like, yeah, this color next to this color, you're dead on sight. You know, it's illegal, not allowed, right to jail. Except jail didn't exist, they would just kill you. And I was like, there's so many things that you just don't think about. It's like all these color combinations that just don't make sense, that are that work, I guess, for some reason.
It's
You know?
so fun.
The funny ones to me are always like, so back in the day when Dave and I were at GW, Dirty Steve, who was the photographer for White Dwarf US, he was so ahead of the curve. He had a Bretonnian army, and again, this has got to be 2004. He had a Bretonnian army that was all painted in the houses from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
That's
sick.
like, book 1 was out, maybe book 2 was out, and like he had done his Bretonnians all in like oh, that guy with the wolves and the black and white, that's the Starks, and then that guy's the like, it was crazy.
That's so cool.
But, I do remember like everyone's like, really? Why would you? What's? I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And of course, like 20 years later, it's like, oh my god, I wish I had that.
Yeah.
Steve was so ahead of the curve.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, it's gonna catch on. Don't worry, it's gonna catch on.
But it was super cool for Bretonnians, right? Because every guy has to have their own heraldry. So he had a whole unit of Grail Knights, and it's like this guy's this, and this guy's this, and this guy's this. And you're like, oh, that's awesome. So
Yeah, it's a nightmare for commissioning. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Excellent. And then finally, Steven's posted these two guys.
Sick.
These are very old Citadel minis, like 1982.
So fun.
It's so good.
I love the character. They have so much character. Just like the little
The attitude,
noses
yeah.
and the beards.
These are literally the two dudes that are guarding the castle in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Where trying to get in, like, he just runs up and kills them all and runs inside.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Really awesome. But yeah, so that is it for our community minis for the week.
We did it. It's 9 o'clock on the nose. We hit it in time. This week it was better. Well, we won't keep you guys. I know you guys get out of here, so we'll do our quick sign out and we'll duck into the after party. But just Dave, you got anything?
I was just going to say first thing. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us.
Our pleasure. Thanks for inviting us.
No, super cool. Is there anything else you might want to mention, or any?
No. The main thing is, come join us on the Wildwood Discord. We have people painting models. We're playing every Wednesday. Come chat, and it's very much like we want to build it from the ground up. So we'd love to have anyone there, and it'd be fantastic. That's really the thing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm sure we'll see. Like I said, I'm sure we'll see you guys again. We'll have you guys again as we do more arena stuff. As far as we get closer, like we'll all be working together to do more stuff.
That sounds fantastic.
Everybody can see down below. There's links. There should be a link to the Tabletop Titans stuff. There should be a link to Wildwood. There's a link using our code. There's a link to the Jeff Memorial stuff. There's a link to. Did I forget anything, Dave?
Trench Titans as well.
Trench Titans is down there as well. I think that's everything.
Perfect.
I think that might be everything.
Yeah.
And anybody who's new to the show, make sure you guys do all the stuff, like, subscribe, hit the bell, whatever. Share us wherever you think it'll be helpful. We will see you guys next week. Post more stuff in the Build Paint community page. If there's any models you want to show off. Also, you can see way more photos of the stuff we showed today and the models we were talking about, like Mark Maxey's chibi demon Primarchs fighting.
You gotta see that, yeah.
You can ask a ton of questions. Like, the community is really helpful. It's a really chill and friendly community. So feel free to ask questions and show stuff off. We will see everybody next week. A huge thank you again to Adrian and Brian for coming on. Thank you guys for being here. We will see everybody next week. And as always, do not forget to build, paint, play.
Shut up and sit down.